Hello and welcome to ThePapare.com. You're on the breakdown and we're going to look back at what was a sterling season of Dialog Rugby. This weekend was no exception as well. So let's have a look at what happened in this week's action. The first match we had was a title decider at Valisara. This game was going to be an important one because if Navy won it with a bonus point and Kandy lost all the rest of their games, Navy had a realistic chance of actually, well, not a realistic chance, but a technical chance of actually going through and winning the Dialog Rugby A Division League. But that was not to be because Kandy showed why they were dominant and they came through and won by 41 points to 17 against Navy at Valisara. And the fortress of Valisara was finally breached for Navy in a comprehensive fashion. We had police who were looking to follow up their draw last weekend against Havelocks, and they came up with a big win not by in terms of points, but an important win for them, 18 points to 12 against Air Force. That was a big one at the bottom of the table. And then we had Havelocks, who actually lost the Mathis Trophy. No one expected that to happen, but CRNFC coming through and managing to win that game 30 points to 22. And CHNFC also, in probably what was the match of the week, managed to defeat Army by 2 points, 30 to 28 was how that one finished. We'll look at those games in a little bit more close detail. Let's look at our title decider first. Kandy never as good as they are in Nittavala when they travel down to Colombo, especially when they go to Valisara. They've had a few missed opportunities there, but this time that wasn't going to be the case. And they came out of the blocks really firing, 34 points in the first half to the 7 that Navy were able to put on the board. Navy starting without Dulanchana Vijay, and when he came on in the second 40 minutes, it made a big difference. Navy scored a few points and you could see that they were a different side with him in that number 2 position for Navy, but unfortunately for them the damage was already done by then. Kandy's tries were coming early and they were raining thick and fast. Nigel Rathpatha being instrumental in the distribution of those tries as well, because he was hitting that line, he was hitting the gap in the middle of the 3/4 line and making sure he drew defenders, and his skills are so good, so subtle that he's able to put his wingers into space. Couple of nice inside balls from them as well, and also some just dominant force in the tackles from guys like Buwaneka Udangamur, who managed to score a fantastic try in the first half as well. So that was the way the game ended for Navy. Unfortunately, this means that their title challenge is over, and it means that Kandy now win the title. They are undisputed champions at the moment. There's no way anyone can even mathematically overhaul them. So congratulations to Kandy for doing it the hard way, coming down to Colombo and beating the number 2 ranked team before the weekend started. And that's the way you want to win a title, away from home at your closest opponents' grounds. That's where you actually want to win a title. So that was a fantastic win from them. Next game we have on the cards is Army versus CH. Nobody expected this game to go down to the wire because Army had been on a downward trend and CH had been the form team. Even though they lost to Kandy, it was probably one of the best games of the Dialog Rugby A Division League. So CH were expected to win this one fairly comfortably going into the game. But Army had other plans. They came out really firing, and it was good to see guys like Sudaraka Dikkumbura, who are really underrated wingers who hadn't been used well by Army in the lead up to this game. And Mohammad Rizvi coming back into the side. Ashan Bandara looking a different player with Rizvi inside him, really taking that ball to the line, and it was good to see Army attacking. But also CH, they managed to score some excellent tries. It was a really fast open game of rugby, and I think both for the Navy Kandy game as well as the CH Army game, I think we have one man to thank, and that is Charlie Brown, for really making sure the rugby was positive and the breakdown was policed in a way that the ball was made available quickly and these talented backs were able to run on to a good fast ball. So that was a good comeback from Army, and you could see that if the breakdown is policed nicely, and with guys like Sugat Nanayakar, who made a comeback into the starting 15 for Army, for him to be able to run onto that ball from the halfback, it really made a huge difference, and he was able to suck in a lot of defenders, opening gaps up for the likes of Dick Kumara on the outside for Army. So 28 points to 23 was the score at one point of the game, but about 5 minutes left, and then in the end the gaps just opened up out wide. Yoshita Rajapaksa snaked through one gap, and Anurag Herath picked up the ball from the breakdown and scored what was the match leveling try, and it was Samuel Madhuwanta from the left touchline who put over a conversion, and he really made the difference at the end of it, because 30 points to 28, it was just that one conversion in it. And when Army go back and look at the score sheet, they'll wonder if Gayan Salinda was able to put over at least one of the penalties he missed or a couple of the conversions he missed, that game would have been completely different and Army would have had a huge win under their belts. But unfortunately it wasn't to be. Sometimes the kickers are heroes, sometimes they are villains. villains, but a superb match nevertheless from both Army and CH, showing what this Dialog Rugby A Division League is all about. And then we had Havelocks taking on CRNFC in their Mathis Trophy return leg, and Havelocks coming in with the lead into this game, but unfortunately for them, they weren't able to hold on to it. A good comeback from CRNFC in the end, winning that match by 30 points to 22, but it was a lethargic match, that has to be said. Or if CH and Army showed you exactly what the Dialog Rugby League was about, Havelocks and CR unfortunately showed you the other end, the sublime to the ridiculous, really, because it was a big heavy set of forwards that were chosen by both coaches, both sets of coaches opting to go with a really heavy front five, which meant that the game didn't really have a lot of mobility, didn't have a lot of sideways movement, and that was really a bit of a problem. Not a lot of creativity shown by the halfback combinations for either team, not a lot of good kicking out of hand by guys who are experienced, guys like Ratwata and Riza Mubarak and Dulaj Pereira. You expect them to kick a little bit better out of hand, but somehow everything conspired to make this a really turgid game, and it really looked like who wanted to lose that game more, and in the end it was Havelocks who won that battle, losing by 30 points to 22. A couple of nice tries scored in the end by Kandy Pereira, who managed to make some breaks and set up people on the outside. But again, a few problems when CRNFC go back and look at that video. They'll think they could have scored a lot more tries. Havelocks not able to get as creative as they would have liked, not able to give the ball into the hands of Nishant Pereira as much as they would have liked as well. And the breakdown, lots of penalties in that game, penalty after penalty, which really made it a very, very stop-start match that not a lot of people would have enjoyed watching, except of course CR fans who have got a big win under their belt. So those are looks at our three top matches of the weekend. Let's look at our point scorers. Our top point scorers for after this weekend's action, we have lots of guys past the 100-point mark, which is fantastic to see, especially because the quality of place kicking has been pretty good this season. We have Thiruna Veerasinghe. Despite that loss, he moves up to 153 points. Samuel Madhuwanta with that winning kick goes up to 117 points. Tarinder Ratwata also with CRNFC's win goes up to 102 points, and just 2 points behind him, Riza Mubarak from Havelocks coming up to 100 points as well. And the try scorers, just Anuruddha Villavara hasn't added to his tally for the last couple of weeks, but he's still in the top position. 10 tries he scored. Danushka Ranjan with 9, Thiruna Veerasinghe with 9, and Richard Dharmapala also with 9. So lots of people scoring tries below that, but the top try scorers haven't really been able to add to their tally recently. So those are top point scorers and try scorers. We've got one of the final weeks of the Dialog Rugby A Division League coming up. The league has been decided now. Kandy has taken the league. There's no way anybody can catch up to them. So these matches are really going to be for the lower places. Depends on who can finish where. It will be important for the Clifford Cup knockouts coming up as well. So let's have a look at those games. We have CHNFC taking on Police at Racecourse at 4 p.m. That's on Saturday. All our games are on Saturday this time. And that should be an interesting match given the way Army played against CH. Shamli Nawaz would have watched that game and thought, okay, there are a few chinks in this armor, let's see whether we can exploit them. We have Havelocks taking on Navy in a battle for second place. That's going to be a really important match. If Havelocks play the way they did and Navy play the way they did last week, then that's going to be a real battle for who wants to lose that game as well. But hopefully they will bring both their A games to the park, and we'll see a massive game at 6:30 p.m. at Havelock Park. Havies really need to turn up the gas. They're looking flat, they're not looking sharp, and that's something that they will have to fix, especially through someone like Rahul De Silva, who can really add a lot of spark into the game. He needs to take a bit of leadership with that back line and make sure that he gets those good runners some good ball to run onto. Then we have CRNFC taking on Air Force. That's going to be at Longden Place. So at Longden Place, CR should be the favourites to win that game. But we've said that many times already this season for CRNFC, and they've come up with a loss. So let's see whether they can follow on a big win against Havelocks with another important win to try and cement their place at the top of that table, or the top end of that table. Then we have Army taking on Kandy. That's going to be at Ratmalana as well. Kandy are going to be playing probably exhibition rugby in that match, and Army will be lucky if they escape without conceding a bonus point. So that's the story from the next week of Dialog Rugby action. All the matches on the 3rd of February. Like I said before, the points table looking like Kandy are completely unheralded and uncatchable at the moment. 70 points they have and completely unbeaten. Navy was the only team that had a chance of maybe pulling them back, but that didn't happen. So Navy are the number 2 place team on 46 points, so a 24-point lead for Kandy. Just unimaginable really at the start of this season. And Navy currently in second spot. Havelocks will try to get that second spot back from them by trying to beat Navy at Havelock Park at 6:30 on Saturday. Havelocks have the home advantage, but that hasn't really meant a lot in this Dialog Rugby A Division League so far, especially with Havelocks losing at home last week. CHNFC and CRNFC will be battling it out for that 4th spot as well. CH currently in 4th, CR in 5th. But if CR manage to get a bonus point win, and somehow if Police manage to either draw or beat CHNFC, then CH will drop down to 5th place. So lots on the line for those 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th places at the moment. So apart from that, Army in 6, Police in 7 and Air Force in 8, bringing up the rear. But again, not a lot in it. So depending on the wins and losses in the last couple of weeks, we might see those places changing as well. It's all to look forward to on the 3rd of Feb on the Dialog Rugby A Division League.